Benin's President Patrice Talon says the situation is completely under control in his country after the government thwarted an attempted coup thanks to loyalist soldiers with support from Nigerian forces. A group of soldiers announced on Sunday on state television that they had ousted President Talon. That sparked swift response from loyal army forces joined by airstrikes and troop deployments from neighboring Nigeria. Beninese military and security forces said around a dozen soldiers had been arrested, including those behind the coup bid. And for more on this, elections expert Tenda Mbanje joins us on the line just to unpack the latest developments. Now, Tenda, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you so much for having me, and good afternoon.
West Africa seems to be in the grips of coups. What do you make of the latest thwarted coup plot in Benin? And is there a valid reason for this?
I think that West Africa at this stage is, as a region, is going through a crisis. And we've seen that in the past year, since 2020, we've had several coups, both those that were successful and those that were not, uh, being attempted or being carried out in the region. And most of those that were successful, there have been impunity insofar as the region, either they have suspended them, but without no real consequence of military leaders or coup leaders in that regard. So what we see is that I think the coups are linked to economic challenges. They are linked to issues of misgovernance. In this case of Benin, we see that the president he has positioned his finance minister to take over. I think there's a segment of people that are the population that is unhappy with it, and also he has managed to some extent to dismantle opposition. So you see that sometimes the coups are caused by internal challenges, governance challenges. But however, the timing of the coup, the preparation of the coup, and also there was no consensus. That's why it is failed. But however, there is no justification for coups. There are other ways in which challenges that are facing citizens or governance processes could be addressed.
Now, just the coup was thwarted, and just looking at President Talon, he clearly has the right people on his side. Looking at how Nigerian forces were able to come in and assist in thwarting this coup or coup attempt. Let's talk about the people that are supporting the current president.
The advantage that he has is that Nigeria has vicinity to Benin, and of course, I think he's in good books with the current government in Nigeria. And also, we see also that there were reports that the French military or the French embassy had housed him. There were so many reports that are circulating online. Clearly, he had some form of support. But however, if there was delay in the support, the coup could have been successful. If there was no urgent response from Nigeria, the coup could have been successful. So even the rapid response forces that he has managed to repel the coup plotters could have been overpowered if Nigeria could have. So the role of Nigeria was critical in thwarting this coup. I don't think it was purely internal repelling of the coup. I think the external actors played a critical role in thwarting this, because I would assume that the coup leaders had somehow knowledge in how they could how could they go about it if there was no assistance from external actors.
Do you think an election will take place next year with everything that's happened?
I think the election will take place, but the current tension, the political tension, I was listening to one of the analysts, former executive Director of Communications of ECOWAS, he has been pointing to political tensions in the country. He is also pointing to some failings of the government, and he is also pointing to succession issues. So the election will take place, but it's likely that the election will be contested because the election will take place in an environment that is tense, in an environment where already there are grievances around the succession and how the current president has managed the governance structures and how he has managed to destroy other political opponents. So there are grievances around that, but elections will take place and it will be contested.
What happens now to the soldiers who attempted this coup?
I've been reading on the kind of punishment, or rather the penalties that are associated with treason in Benin, under Benin laws. They will face up to 10 to 20 years in prison, and and to some extent, in exceptional circumstances, they could face life imprisonment. So obviously, you would look at the coup leaders. They will face high charges, and then their subordinates settle slightly lower penalties. So they are in for it. They will be they've committed a very serious offense, treason. It's the highest offense in the land, and they will pay for it by serving long term in prison, and if not, life imprisonment.
And the reaction of the citizens with everything that's unfolded?
Yes, I think the citizens, from what I've been reading, they did not like the coup. They did not support it. It was widely condemned. In any case, it was a premature coup. There were no really compelling reasons that could have necessitated the coup, except the internal problems that could have been addressed through other channels. So the citizens themselves, they are not also want to get into the cohorts of regimes that are in West Africa that are under military rules. Once you're under a military rule, elections are not likely to happen. Dictatorship intensifies. We have seen it in all the countries where military takeovers have taken place. There has been deterioration of democracy and governance institutions.
Well, Tenda, thank you for joining us on Africa Updates. This is where we'll leave it.
Thank you so much.
That's Tenda Mbanje, an elections expert, joining us on the line.